Forget everything you think you know about dating, especially if you're a black woman, especially if you're a black woman who wants to move to Japan. This is not just about language barriers or cultural clashes. This is a unique social landscape that feels a lot like playing a game of chess, except it's more like 3D chess, and actually your opponent is playing 3D chess and you're playing Go Fish. Okay, yeah, it's that complicated. But today I'm gonna pull back the curtains and share with you guys some of like the trials and struggles that I have had in the time that I've been dating in Japan, but also share some of the strategies that have kind of been working for me. Yeah, I don't know, we'll see. Get in, hotties, we're having a yap session. Also, if you like this video or find any of the content in it helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you have the option to hype the video, please go ahead and do that. You know, it's been a while since I was posting regularly, but now that I'm back posting regularly, me and the YouTube algorithm, we have a weird love-hate relationship. So I need y'all's help so that we can become the community that we used to be. Okay? All right, let's get into this. I think the biggest thing about dating in Japan or trying to date in Japan as a black girl is the very obvious culture clashes that come up. Now, when I first moved to Japan, I feel like I was mostly just dating like other foreigners. And I think for the most part, I still am mostly just dating other foreigners. But now that I can like have a conversation in Japanese, it kind of opens me up to like non-English speaking Japanese people as well, right? And I thought that that was going to introduce me to like, I don't know, like a more respectable quality of man. I don't know what I was thinking, okay? And what I've actually been getting is a lot of, I've never been with a black woman before. Here's my thing with that. I think that if you're already going to be sexually active and you've already committed yourself to having like a one night stand or like a completely physical relationship with someone, I don't think it's inherently wrong to exercise your fetish, right? Like, because that's what a fetish is. It's like a deviant sexual preference, right? If you're not black, if you're Japanese and you just want to sleep with a black girl just for the sake of saying you've done it, I don't know. I feel like as long as she's on board, because maybe she has similar desires, I don't think it's inherently wrong, right? It's just physical. Everybody gets what they want out of the equation. Cool. I think for me, it's when you want to like cosplay as someone's partner, but it's really just you fetishizing them. That's when I think the fetishization of me as a black woman is where I'm gonna have to draw the line. Like, I don't really take it too serious if like, oh, I just want to sleep with a black girl. I mean, get out of my face. But you know, like, I'm not the black girl for you. But I do know that there are some that just want to, they also just want to sleep with an Asian guy. So look, to each his own. It's just not my own. I also feel like as a dark-skinned black woman, I have such an interesting experience because like I feel like I'm always experiencing like some form of that situation. Back in America, I used to often get, oh, you know, I've never been with a dark-skinned woman before, which you lack taste, but whatever. And so now in Japan, it's just like, oh, I've never been with a black woman before, which I can't even lie. Unless we like know each other, that doesn't even seem like something you should tell a stranger. Like if I had never been with an Asian guy before, like that's just not something I would offer up to a stranger. But I guess that just goes into men everywhere being idiots. So take that however you want to take that. On that note, when I first moved to Japan, and like particularly the people in my neighborhood, the older people, like the older men and older women, something they would always say to me when we were talking about like the different cultures and like culture clashes is Japan is an island. When I first would hear them say that, it kind of almost felt like an excuse, right? And what they mean by that, if you're unfamiliar with the term, is like because Japan is an island, information doesn't pass through Japan, right? Information has to intentionally be in Japan. You don't stop by in Japan, right? It's an island. You have to intentionally go there. One of the side effects of that is that it can potentially create a very alienated society. You can have a very alienated worldview. And that's what they were really trying to get me to understand as far as like culture clashes go. And now with dating, I'm really starting to see like the effects of that. Because, sorry, remember in the last Get Ready With Me, I said I've been loving this Shein? I feel like ever since I said that, it started to disrespect me and I don't understand why. It's like so unintentionally sticky. Anyway, back to the makeup. So like I was saying, media in Japan doesn't pass through Japan. It has to intentionally come to Japan. And what that means for dating as a black woman is that a lot of times, some of these men, the only times they've seen or had any kind of engagement, even parasocially, with a black woman is with the media that they see on TV or maybe like social media, right? And what they have can often be very limited. So first, let's tackle social media, right? The algorithm shows you what it thinks you want to see. So if it thinks you want to see a certain type of black girl, that's all it's going to show you. Even with the media, you know, talk so much about how representation matters and representation is important. And I still feel like people don't appreciate that because as a Black woman, we all know, right? There's like the disposable best friend trope. And so when somebody who's never really engaged with a Black woman sees stuff like that in the media, they start to correlate Black women with being disposable. There's always like, oh, the hypersexualization of the Black friend. And you know what? I feel like oftentimes it's always the dark skinned Black friend too. She's the hypersexual one. So then again, if you've never interacted with Black women before, then you're going to start to associate Black women, particularly dark skinned Black women, or rather monoracial Black women, with hypersexuality, right? That's just how the mind works, right? It's how you create your biases, your unconscious biases, right? And I think I've experienced a lot of that since being here, and especially the more that I talk to Japanese men, specifically Japanese men who... Now, why would it do that? Please hold. Okay, we're back. I kind of forgot what I was saying, but the moral of the story is representation is important. And because I'm in a situation where for many people, I am like the first like Black woman that they've had like a legitimate conversation with, it, they kind of have their preconceived notions about me and what I'm going to be like interacting with them. If I don't live up to that, then they're kind of no longer interested. And I think I know a lot of Black women out here who kind of experience the same thing. And so representation is important for situations like this. And I don't think I mean, I've always appreciated the fact that representation is important, I'm not going to lie, but I didn't appreciate how it would affect dating globally until very recently. If I can give you a tip, if you're Black and living in Japan, or honestly, probably a Black woman living anywhere where Black women are rare, here's a tip so you can tell if a man is about to play in your face, like a non-Black man is about to play in your face, okay? What I've noticed is that, specifically Japanese guys, when they're looking at me, like they're just mesmerized by me, like they're entranced by me, that is a surefire sign that that man is about to play in my face. And let me tell you what it is, right? Because that should feel like a compliment, but no. What it really is when they give me that certain look, that's my cue that they don't even see me. Like they could not even point my facial features out in a lineup. All they see is my Black skin and all of their fetishes and their fantasies coming true. That's all they see. I feel like all men probably have some version of this look, but now I feel like I've gotten really good at spotting when the Japanese men are doing it to me. And once I see that look, once I see that gleam in their eyes, time to wrap it up, Buki, because I know you finna take me for a ride if I let you, okay? And not around here, partner.
Not around here, partner. Not around here.
You guys, it's winter, right? So I'm no longer doing my signature summer look. I have no idea what I want my winter look to be. So we're going to experiment with some colors today. If it looks ugly, I guess I want you to tell me in the comments, but that's a lie. I don't want you to tell me in the comments. Just say something nice, like, can't wait to see the next winter look. Say something cute. Keep it cute. Okay, because I don't know what we're finna do here. All right, we're just vibing. I have no plan. Okay, there's no way for me to talk about dating in Japan as a Black woman without talking about gaijin hunters. Now, gaijin hunters, gaijin just means foreigner. So a gaijin hunter is like a man who just wants to date or sleep with a foreign woman, right? If you have ever seen a video about dating in Japan, you have probably heard the term and you've heard people talk about it. This is kind of a controversial take, similar to like, I don't think fetishization is inherently wrong. So just hear me out, okay? Okay, first let me say, I would never, ever, 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 ever entertain a gaijin hunter. As soon as I peep that that's what he is and those are the vibes he's giving, I'm out of there. Swerve, bend that corner, woo, woo. Okay, we're done. That being said, so if you watched my Halloween in Tokyo vlog, you should remember during the taxi ride interlude, we were just talking about dating and boys or whatever. I brought up how I saw this Instagram video. It might have been TikTok. I don't know. It was short form. That's really all I can remember. And the woman she was a Black woman, and I don't know, she was some type of African. She's probably from like a francophone country. I'm hearing a French accent. Neither here nor there. She was saying one of her biggest regrets after living in Japan for like 10 years or so was that when she first moved here, she kind of felt like she was too good to date a Japanese man just for the point of learning Japanese. And, you know, if she could do it all over again, she would not feel that way. And I was telling that to Mabo, right? I think that's like a funny thing to say, and it's kind of controversial, right? Like, yeah, you shouldn't just date someone just to get something out of it, like just to learn their language. But realistically, doesn't everybody enter a relationship or desire to enter a relationship with the purpose of getting something out of it? Nobody is going into a relationship to get nothing, right? You want something out of it. And I don't know, I'm of the belief cultural exchange is probably like one of the least harmful things you can be expecting to get out of a relationship. If I could make a list and say, I want a man that's gonna take out the trash or pay for this, pay for that, you know, blah, 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 surely I can add to that list, I want a man that's gonna teach me Japanese. Like, I don't think that I don't really think that that's a bridge too far, but it's just so funny because I remember like some of the comments were like, oh, you know, that's kind of wild. But I think, shoot, she put me on to something. So now I'm low key considering, like, okay, is that something I need to be looking into? Because say less. I feel like it kind of goes back in. Is that dark enough? Is that dark enough? Okay, it kind of looks dark. Okay, I'm trusting the process. Anyway, the way I keep losing my train of thought should be studied. Anyway, though, the moral of the story is now I'm kind of like reframing my preferences, because to me, it's not like, okay, I'm just gonna date a guy I have no interest in just for the purpose of learning Japanese. No, for me, it's more so like, okay, a Japanese guy that's okay with me wanting to learn Japanese from him, who is like maybe a 7 on my scale of attractiveness, is now the same attractiveness level as like a guy who I can't learn Japanese from, but who's an 8 on my scale of attractiveness, right? It's kind of just like, you know, like a weighted test where some parts mean more than the other. So you can fail one part, but do really good in the other part and still get the same grade as somebody else. Kind of how I'm treating it and how I'm seeing it. I don't think that there's inherently anything wrong with that. And I wouldn't feel no type of ways about a Japanese guy approaching a relationship with me similarly. Again, as long as we both know what it is up front, I personally don't think that there's a problem with that. And look, a little bit of cultural exchange is how the world becomes a better and better place. Okay. I'm just here to do my part. You feel me? I'm like super nervous. The eye look, it's very understated right now, and I hope that's not going to translate into muddy. Please hold. You guys, I am so sorry, but I forgot to turn my microphone on when I turned my camera back on. So for like the next 10 minutes or so, I don't have any audio from this recording. So I'm just going to give you the voiceover of basically what I was saying during this time. So let's go. Okay, so now that we've talked about like the initial culture clashes and things like that, now I'm finna let y'all in my business, okay? Because y'all know I don't mind letting y'all in my business sometimes. We're family, it's a safe space, okay? We need to talk about dating apps in Japan. I think as a foreigner in general, it's bad, but I think as a Black woman, you are really just getting the worst of the worst. I think the oddest thing about dating apps in Japan is the fact that the men don't use their pictures on their profile. Like that's the normal way to do it. Japanese people really appreciate their anonymity, which I love that for them. But like if you go on the average dating profile in Japan, you're going to see like a lot of like sunset pictures, pictures of like sushi or ramen or like whatever it is they're eating, like a little cafe drink. You're not going to see the person's face. And like here's my thing. If I wanted to go on a blind date, I would. Okay, I'm on here because I want to see exactly what I'm getting into before I make any kind of commitment to engage. And so that for me is like the biggest turn off. And I also think that it really just makes it easier for the men who are on there to cheat, to get away with it because they're not really showing their face. But we'll talk about those men later. But yeah, for me, it's just very unsettling. Like, why have a dating app if you're not going to show your picture? There's a slot for pictures. That's where your face should go. Like, that is so frustrating for me. And I feel like the people who are using their pictures on there are like the most unhinged men in Japan. Let me tell you the story of what happened to me that finalized that not only would I never use another dating app in Japan, I will never use another dating app ever. No matter where I am in the world, I'm so good off of that. Okay, so this was on Bumble, right? I matched with a guy on Bumble. We maybe had like one or two conversations. It didn't go anywhere, wasn't really an engaging conversation, so it ended. Cool. Maybe like a month or so goes by. I stopped using Bumble because, you know, I feel like you know how it is. You would download the app and then you would just be like, I'm off this. And then you just won't get off for that long. Okay, so that's what happened, right? Cool. A month went by. I get a DM on TikTok and it's like, hey, we matched on Bumble. Haven't heard from you in a while. But then I found your TikTok page. Boopty boopty whoop. I'm like, bro, this is so odd. I go to the person's page to block them, obviously. Y'all, this person don't have no videos. They don't have no likes. they're not being followed by anybody, and the only person they follow is me. So, I mean, obviously, ring a ling a ling a ling a ling. That's a bell. Those are multiple bells. The flags are so red, it looks like blood. Okay. I obviously block them. I go to Bumble because I'm like, okay, I clearly need to delete my Bumble account because I don't know what's happening here. When I go to delete the Bumble account, I see the same profile picture. I'm like, oh, it's this guy. That is insane. What about not speaking to me in a month makes you feel like you need to track me down on social media? Then I'm going through my Bumble profile. I'm like, how did he even find me? Like, I don't mention TikTok on there. Like, this is so odd. After reviewing it, I realized that one of my pictures on the Bumble profile was the picture I was using as my profile picture on that TikTok account. So he had to have downloaded my picture or like screenshot it, whatever, uploaded it to Google image search, and then Google image search populated for him that that was my account. I said, you know what? A valuable lesson has been learned here today. I removed all of the pictures that I had on my Bumble account from anywhere else online they were. Like off Instagram, off TikTok, off everything. Because for me, like, that is stalking. I feel like because of the internet, the lines of like what is considered stalking have been a bit blurred. But no, a lot of people really cross the line when it comes to what information they need to be researching about other people on the internet. And let me just say, this is not the first time that that has happened to me. When I was living in LA, again on Bumble, maybe it's a Bumble thing, y'all. I don't know. But again on Bumble, this guy, a black guy, we matched. We had like a funny little jokey joke about dinosaurs. Conversation didn't go anywhere. Stopped responding. Cool. Side note, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before. So when I was living in LA, I was working as a writer. So I had like an agent, right? I had a manager, and I had a website, right? And so my website would had a contact page, and it would go to me and my manager. Okay, cool. So the guy, I guess, looked me up based off of the little information that was on my Bumble account, and he found my website. Okay, fair enough. Obviously, there are pictures of me, easy to identify that that's me. But then he went to the contact page on this professional business website and sent an email like, oh, we matched on Bumble, but I haven't heard from you, blah, 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 blah. And this then went to like my manager, and I'm like, that is one, so embarrassing for him, not for me.
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
But like, that's so embarrassing for you. Like, why would you do that? And so again, me and my friend researched that one, and she was like, to be fair, so obviously my full name is aw-peh-yeh-mee. She was like, to be fair, when you type in aw-peh-yeh-mee Los Angeles, your website is the first thing that comes up. So it's not like too crazy to like track you down that way. But that's why I started going by aw-peh for short. I mean, I typically go by aw-peh for short, but that's why online for sure I'm going by aw-peh for short, because it's too easy on the internet to find people, and people think because it's easy that it doesn't classify as stalking, and that's just not true. Stalking is stalking, and those experiences taught me so much about what information I should and should not be posting online. Even as somebody who does like days in my life and like come with me to this and come with me to that, those two experiences on Bumble have really shaped just how much information I actually share with the internet, because niggas is crazy, okay? Anyway, a friend of mine was just saying that it could also be like cultural, that because I put my pictures up, that's like supposed to signify that, like, I don't know, maybe I'm okay with that, because the alternative is not putting pictures up. But to me, I just feel like that's a bridge too far. Anyway, I blocked him on every single thing, deleted Bumble, and I'm never going back. I maybe I can use Bumble for BFF, maybe. But yeah, Bumble dating, no. It's not just Bumble either. I think all the dating apps are bad. I think you're going to run into the same issue using Hinge out here. But I also feel like the thing about Hinge specifically, you get a lot of tourists who are just passing through. That's who you get on Hinge. And it doesn't matter. You can put on your profile, I actually live in Japan. I live in Japan. I live in Japan. I'm looking for somebody that lives in Japan. And you'll still get tourists. I don't live in Japan, but we can blah, blah, blah. Shut up. I'm not trying to be your tour guide, okay? Sometimes it's fun, but I already did like a video on that, right? I took you guys on the date with me where I went to see the guy who was just passing through, and it was horrible. And it's just like, I'm off that. I like, tried it, not a fan. Like, unless you're here and you just want to cash out on a beautiful queen during your time here, then I can make myself available. Anything other than that, I'm actually so good on that. I'm actually so good on that. Sorry, can we just get into this blend? Because lately the blends have been blending. That full frontal, I forget that I need to put foundation on. This side, I got a little bit of like maskne, but it's looking good. Okay, let's get into this foundation. Like I said, those are my least favorite kinds of guys to interact with on the dating apps out here, or rather, they used to be. Okay, because I'm delivered.
I am delivered.
I don't go that route no more. Actually, it's the tourists who are just passing through and don't care that your profile is very specific, that you're not a tourist and you don't want a tourist. Them and the Japanese men that are on there just to cheat. Like, just to cheat. And truly, the worst of that bunch are the Japanese men who have Japanese partners who are on there to cheat specifically with foreign women. When I tell you, if I can find the screenshot, because I know I sent it to a friend, I will post it on here. And it basically, he literally was just like, I'm literally, like, I have a partner. I'm literally just here for a good time. Are you guys insane? You're lucky I don't have a way to like track down your partner and let her know that you are an absolute scumbag, because I would. I absolutely would. She deserves to know. And they'll be married, whole shebang. Some of the pictures, they'll even still have their ring on. He's like, you people do not fear God in this Japan. No, I'm telling you, you people do not fear him. And you should stop. You should really stop. Also, can we address the elephant in the room? Cheating culture in Japan and how normalized it is. On TikTok, I sometimes see videos saying, oh, cheating is not that normal in Japan. Like, you're just going off of like those Shibuya street interviews. Fair enough, because I do think that those street interviews sensationalize a lot of the people that they're talking to and getting answers from. However, as somebody boots on the ground who knows both Japanese men and women, I do think it's very normalized. And I think that specifically a lot of Japanese women are starting to realize just how normalized it is in ways that they did not appreciate, because when that's all you know, when that's all that's around you, you don't really realize how strange it is, right? Like, you really, again, Japan is an island, right? Everybody is doing it, right? It's totally normal. And it's not until you leave and maybe come back or you're exposed to other ways that you're like, that's not normal. Like, especially like the men who want to be in a relationship with you, but then also want to be able to visit like the brothels whenever they feel like it. And then they don't think that that's considered cheating because they've paid for it. Here's my thing. The fact that you gave another woman not just my but my money too, spit on my face, make it a hat trick. Like, what? That for me, I think is insane. Like, you cheating on me, and not even with a woman that would do it for free. You have to go find a woman that you have to pay. Me, you do not pay. You paid her. If I catch you. No, that to me, I think is worse. Oh my gosh, that to me, I think is way, way, way worse. But again, these are like my personal experiences. Like I said, amongst my friends, I think we all seem to have similar experiences, but no two people are the same. I also know Black women out here who are in what seem like very loving, healthy relationships with Japanese men. So obviously they're not all insane. Look, if it works for you, it works for you. Sorry, I'm trying to blend the front of my eyebrows because they look a little, you know, a little strict. But yeah, like, if it works for you, go for it. If you like it, I love it. Okay. I think we're going to do extra pink because it's winter time. So we want to look really blushy. And then I love a blend. So we're going to go orange as we move up. That's way too much on the nose, but let's see how we make this happen. But yeah, like I said, these are just my personal experiences, but I feel like a lot of Black women out here that I know at least can relate. I feel like the smart Black women, the Black women that I'm really trying to emulate their game plan out here, they're finding diplomats. They're having dinner around the corner from the embassies, and they're snacking ballers. And I feel like that's currently my new course of action. I think I might have to get down that road, okay? I could do a diplomat. Okay, so now I want to address two very specific challenges I face as a Black woman dating in Japan. We talked about gaijin hunters, but we also need to discuss the LBH. If you don't know what LBH means, it just stands for loser back home. In Japan especially, you will run into an LBH who has gotten too used to Japanese women fawning all over him, and they expect you to do the same. And it's so crazy to me because it's like, as a fellow foreigner, I can tell that you were a loser back home. Like the signs are all there. I know what a loser looks like. And I feel like, especially if they're like from your home country, you can tell that they would not have no motion back home, but they're used to these Japanese women, because Japanese women can be gaijin hunters too. It's not just men, which is why I said, I think if it's mutual, go for it. But for me, I'm just like, I can tell that you are a loser back home. And I can tell that you can tell that if we met each other back home, you would not even have the confidence to speak to me. So you're going to lower your tone when you talk to me here in Japan, or you can move around. Like, I think LBHs are just as bad as gaijin hunters. I actually think they're worse. Like gaijin hunters, like I said, if you're in the market for something like that, then go for it. I don't think who is ever in the market for a loser. Like, no, LBHs, they the ones that really be blowing my mind. And since we're talking about men that are expecting you to fawn all over them, we have to talk about athletes because, as you know, your girl is slowly but surely making her way through Japan's B League. I can't stop attracting basketball players. I don't know what it is. For all of that attraction, I've never been to a basketball game. I'm finna start taxing these men. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What I wanted to talk about is how I do feel like athletes are like only just like marginally better than the LBHs because they still travel so much for work that they don't really expect you to fawn all over them the same way they're used to Japanese women doing. But they still expect you to fawn over them because they're athletes. Like they still would have that expectation even as an athlete in their home country. But even that I feel like I can respect a bit more because at least you're not pretending, right? And also, I know I just joked saying that I was going to make my way through the B League here in Japan. Oh, the B League is like Japan's NBA. But I actually feel like I need to start seeing what them rugby players is talking about. Okay? Because I feel like that body type, not as tall as I could take them, but the body type, the bodies be bodying. Bodies be tea on the rugby team. Okay, I might have to see what they talk about. Okay, the second thing is, I think despite how progressive the youth of Japan may seem online, there is still racism, there is still microaggressions. I think just because you're watching Japanese people online cosplay Black culture doesn't really mean they are as accepting of Black people as it would seem. And when I say accepting, I don't mean like, oh, they'll shun Black people, but I think like accepting the idea that Black people are not a monolith. We are not all video vixens. We are not all twerk mommies. Like we all have different things that, just Black people are not a monolith. And I think that when you don't appreciate that Black people are not a monolith, then of course you are going to run into microaggressions. Again, Japan is an island and you're always going to feel the effects of that. And I think for me, I'm really starting to feel the effects of that in the dating world when I consider things like this. Putting on lashes is always the hardest part, just because if that glue is not dry enough, you're on a fool's errand. Truly, the best advice I can give for surviving the dating scene in Japan, I mean surviving the dating scene anywhere really, is just to find two boyfriends and settle down. No, seriously, it's find somebody that you have shared values with and then build from there. Don't let yourself get weighed down by things that don't necessarily matter, specifically outside opinions. And on a more shallow note, if you're a tall girl like me, you may need to become a bit more realistic in your height requirements for men if you want to date a Japanese guy. Which isn't to say that Japanese men don't grow tall. They really do. There's actually an article about how the new generation is growing much taller than the previous generation and it's affecting architecture, but I digress. If you want to have the best possibility, you might have to not limit yourself in certain ways. I feel like because I'm living in Japan and my cosmetic options are so limited as a Black woman, I'm slowly but surely starting to become a she glam girly because this lippy, very brown, I'm obsessed with it. The name's not on it, so don't even ask me what it is. If you really want to know, I can look it up. Just let me know in the comments, but child, I don't know what that is. Okay, to summarize, my best dating advice for Black women living in Japan, or really living in any country where you feel like you're being othered to this degree. Two pieces of advice. First one, never be afraid to redefine what success in relationships looks like for you. For some people, success in a relationship looks like getting married, having children, starting a family. For other people, success in a relationship looks like learning a different language, sleeping with somebody that you never thought you'd sleep with, from a culture or a background that you never thought you'd get to sleep with or interact with. Sometimes success just looks like surviving your crush Like, don't be afraid to redefine what a successful relationship is going to look like for you in your time, in your season. Like, eventually, maybe success looks like settling down and getting married for you, but maybe in the now, it looks like something else, and that's okay too. I'm absolutely team Black women going where they're loved and celebrated, not where they are tolerated. My second piece of advice: prioritize yourself at all costs. Set your boundaries, communicate your needs, and do not let a single piece of racism or a microaggression slide. Okay, once you do it once, you're gonna be doing it for the whole relationship. Trust. I just realized I've literally been off center this entire time. Like, I knew I was off center because I was pivoting this way to look at the camera. Ugh, that's gonna upset me. Anyway, this is the final look. Okay, what do we think of the winter eye? It's very brown, it's very mocha. I feel like for the lid, I need to use a different, like the shimmers, there's two shimmers on there and it just looks like one, which is kind of the point. Like, it's supposed to be like a nice gradient. You know, when you turn, it looks different colors, that kind of thing. I can't remember what the name is called, but I feel like I did that too good. And it just looks like there's one color. Like, you can't even see the base color anymore between the lashes, the liner, and the top gold. Anyway, this is the makeup look. And this is everything I know about dating as a Black woman in Japan. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comment section. I would love to hear from you guys. Also, don't forget, if you haven't already, like this video on your way out. And if you have the option to hype it, please do. I'm not 100% sure what hyping does for me, but I mean, hype me up. Come on. Y'all better hype me up. You know what it is. Okay, see you next week. Jane.